Morning, everyone. Welcome into episode number 14 of Pick and Troll. Rex and I here with you for another big college basketball Saturday slate. Before we get into this, please go ahead and make sure you check us out, www.thebreakdownsports.com. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at breakdown_sports. And you can find us on Facebook at The Breakdown. Rex, how are you today?
Hungry. Got some nice hungry. I got a hungry dog on the sheet for today, so Saturday, I got to make sure I have a hungry dog runs faster every time we do a Saturday stream. I was slacking on that earlier.
Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, I have one, but not quite the odds that you have, so I'll take it, though. Going to go ahead and just tweet this out very quickly, and then we'll jump in. Rex and I won't be breaking down anything from yesterday or days prior. We'll touch on a couple injuries. We have a lot of plays, so we'll jump right into that. So a couple key notes for injuries to look out for. Chris Light of Miami is unlikely to play per Rothstein. He was day-to-day yesterday, and then he was probable, but now he is unlikely to play. So just know that for Miami. UNLV, Bryce Hamilton is considered day-to-day. He is probable for today's game. Andre Jackson for UConn will be playing. It's his first game back since early January, one of them. He hasn't played in quite some time. Book Knight's still out. Akok also out. But he hasn't played since, I don't fucking know. I think since Trump was president. And Trey Mitchell and Noah is out for UMass. Noah Fernandez is a game-time decision. UMass offense is virtually useless without both those pieces. So I would watch out for that game if you are looking to back the Minutemen, because they have not provided any offense without Trey Mitchell. Any notes for you, Rex?
No, it's your alma mater. If you're going to get some UMass notes, always get it from Jordan.
Yep. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, if UMass was a very average team, but them with Trey Mitchell versus them without Trey Mitchell is huge. I mean, the offense literally runs through him. So that's what we got. We'll go ahead and jump right into this. I still have somehow not tweeted this.
Yeah, I just hit us up with the tweet. Model's still running pretty well. Overall, running right around 51 to 52%. Multi-point edges is right around 52 to 53%. Got over 1,000 games in each data points. Our overalls is only a 1-point spread. Some people calculate every single game into their model. They're insane because how can you say a 0.02 edge means it's a play? So it is what it is. We look for 1 point, 2.5 point edges. Jordan has a lot of plays today based off the model. I got some that are based off the model, some off my crazy brain. So it's a nice Saturday. So let's see how it goes, because strictly this season I've been going a lot off the model, but it's Saturday, feeling a little wet and wild this morning, so might be going off the cusp a little bit.
All right, who you want to kick it off? Me kick it off. We both have at least one very early game. I'll go ahead and start us off. We both have the same play. Toledo, Ball State. This game tips in half an hour. It's a noon Eastern game. We are both playing the over. I got it at 148.5. The same odds that Rex was able to grab it. Who is Ball State getting back?
KJ Walton.
KJ Walton's coming back for Ball State, thanks to the random 500 count follower count person who was able to find out that information and tweet it out. So that is good for us. We like this. Two fairly high tempo teams. Toledo loves to shoot the three, so their games are always very high scoring. Ball State has a really good offense when they has a decent offense when they have KJ Walton, and they have an abysmal offense when they don't have him.
And Ball State is something like 14-2 to the over when Walton plays as well this season. So usually we've been seeing the Ball State's numbers get a little bit higher, but I still think it's a good time, especially because Ball State doesn't keep anyone under 70. Toledo usually breaks 80 almost every game at this point in the season. So that's where Ball State just breaks 65, 70 for us, and we get this one home easy.
All right. Want me to kick off the next one that I have?
Yeah, my plays are nicely spread out throughout the day. I get a little bit of a bulk at the 1 and 2 o'clock, but I go all the way to 10. So no more rushes for mine. So hit us up with your other nooner.
All right, my other noon game is UConn. I grabbed UConn at +1.5 versus Seton Hall. Seton Hall coming off a nice little victory there against, who did they just beat? Someone decent.
Providence.
Okay, yeah, they killed them. They beat them by like 20 points. Taking UConn +1.5. I know they are without James Bouknight, but I think that being able to get Andre Jackson back into the fold certainly helps them out. Really solid offense for both these teams. UConn has a pretty good defense, and I think that's what will be the difference maker in this one here. Hopefully they're able to slow down the pace a bit to how they like to play. This game opened with UConn as a favorite. I was willing to take them at -1, but when I opened my sports book, I saw them at +1.5. So that's what we're playing today.
Yeah, nothing much on this Cleveland State team. Shout out Tommy. That's basically it. But I know the model likes this play a lot today, so got to back that one there.
Yeah, that's, I guess, the next one that I'll talk about since I was just talking about UConn. But I'll go ahead and talk about Cleveland State now.
My bad.
All good. I just put them, I was going through them in order. Cleveland State, jump ahead to that game. A little bit of a later game today. That is a 5 p.m. Eastern game. I'm taking Cleveland State. They did pull off a victory last night against Oakland, playing them on a back-to-back. Cleveland State plays relatively the same between the first leg and second leg of a back-to-back, with them blowing, I think it was a blowout. I'll categorize it as a blowout. I will see what the score is. They won by 8 points. So they won by 8 points last night. They should win by 5 or 6 today. I was able to get them at +1, -112. So I like those odds. Still full fade Oakland. This team has no defense at all. The only thing that they do well in defense is that they don't foul. So that's really all they have going for them. Their offense is nation's average at best, and they play with a really, really small rotation, which is something to know, versus Cleveland State, which actually uses their full bench.
Yeah, Vikings, that's a good one. Sorry for jumping ahead. I just completely with the C's, but with UConn, I mean, you're buying, it's a nice buy low spot, I think, on that one, or maybe more of a sell high. So that's where, even though Bouknight might not be there, UConn sells enough to get it done. You and Steven can go nuts on Twitter together during that one.
Boy, kill me. They are coming off UConn's coming off, I think, a 7-day layoff where they haven't played. But this is their third COVID break of the year. So this is just normal for them. They're used to having these 1 week off. They kind of need it to reset. So that's the narrative I'm going to make up for myself to feel better about this play. And I grabbed UConn at +1.5, -110.
Well, we've seen the week breaks aren't really even considered breaks at this point, even though they're the team that had to break. Some games just get canceled midweek. So yeah, we've seen, especially, I've been looking a lot into the COVID breaks. I have a play solely based off that coming up. But yeah, once it gets over 10 to 14 days, that's when it can start factoring in. If not, it's just a week off. It is what it is.
And there are conferences that play on, they'll play Monday, Tuesday, and they'll play Friday, Saturday. That's 4 to 5 days off in between, depending if you have back-to-backs or not. And what's 2 extra days of rest?
Yep. So let's get into my play. We both share this one. Tips off at 1 o'clock. We're going with Colgate at Boston. So with this one in Colgate, it's more of I'm fading Boston. They haven't played since January 24th. They did get a nice back-to-back sweep over Lafayette, but this Patriot League, they've had so many games canceled so far this season. Colgate is in a nice little rhythm right now, I would say. Definitely the top team in the Patriot at 7-1. And the big thing I've looked at, even though the Patriots played no non-con games, Colgate has the 14th best efficient field goal percentage and the 6th best efficient field goal defense. So that's just where they're just owning these Patriot teams. 12.5 is, I don't think it's a lot because we show a 2-point edge on our model here. The defense of Boston, the Terriers, sorry, Jordan, I don't know if you're a huge fan of them. They stink.
Yeah.
Colgate has the best 3-point defense in the whole nation, and Boston shoots 333rd rate. So this is just where, yes, it's all Patriot stats. So Colgate's are a little bit inflated here. So this is where you have a site and you can filter by the conference stats. That's the way to look at your your mid-majors, because there's no reason to consider who like the American East when they played a Big East team. Just throw that out. There's nothing that has effect in the conference game. So that's just where with Colgate here, they're the best team in the Patriot by far. Just going to back them to whoop the Terriers today.
Yeah, and honestly, even for the bigger conferences at this point, I'm only looking at how the player level stats for conference games, just because there's more data points. Some teams played 0 D1 games, and then their numbers are just being weighted against players and teams they didn't play. So I like putting it against conference, where they're at least going to share like opponents. I think that's a really good way to look at this. I played this game early in the season, and Colgate was a dog. On the 9th, I think it was this game. Maybe they were a really short favorite, but they ended up winning by 5 or 6 points. I remember I was in Boston for the game.
minus 1.5. Bart had them as minus 1.5 and minus 2.4 favorites. Yeah. Now he has them as minus 13.4 today.
Yeah, so I definitely was able to get him around like a pick. Did we factor into this Colgate's ability to play wearing a mask? Because they have to wear masks on BU campus to play.
Colgate's at home.
Oh, it is? Oh, shit. Yeah. Never mind. No worries then. All right.
Yeah, the only thing is like what's padded into the stats is Colgate's last 4 games have all been against Holy Cross. So you definitely get to pad the stats when that's your one opponent for 4 games. But yeah, Colgate here, look for them to run. They started maybe a little bit slower in the season off just because they started late. This team's going to be one that's definitely going to be dancing in March. So going to back them here.
Yeah, only thing I will add to what you've already said about Colgate is just how good they are from 3, both offensively and defensively. They're one of the top 25 teams in terms of their 3-point shooting and 3-point defense. So I don't know if that says more about how terrible the Patriot League is at shooting threes and just how slightly above average Colgate is, but we will see today.
Yes, sir. So do you want to get into your next one, or do you want me to go? Because we've gone through 3 of your plays. I've gone through 2 of mine, and I think I have an extra.
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right. So you guys ready to hear some nice COVID stats? Jordan's probably going to translate this into English for you. I'm going to try my best, so please bear with me here on this one. But North Texas, they're playing La Tech. So this is one where La Tech's sitting at like 14-5 or 15-5. North Texas, I believe, is sitting at 9-6. And these guys played last night. North Texas was a 5.5 to 6 point favorite, ended up losing outright by 5. And what La Tech did is they outplayed the expected like efficiency margins or expected points by over 10 points. And this one guy, Evan Miyawaka, I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. That's his Twitter handle. But he did a nice back-to-back stats where when a team overperforms by over 10 points in their first game and the back-to-back, the second game, they go under their projected points by about 2.5 to 3 points. So that's where North Texas -4 here, -1.5. I'm playing it strictly based off this like trend and like I guess it's a little bit more than a trend because it has more efficiency to it. But North Texas, I'm going to back them against La Tech in the back-to-backs where you could say it means nothing. With all these back-to-backs, it's kind of chaotic, but North Texas, they're just going to jump on them today.
So was your stat about teams that exceed point expectations in the first game? What was that?
By over 10 points. So they are projected to lose by 6. They won by 5. So they over exceeded by 10 points. They seen the next game in the back-to-back. They're usually 2 or 3 points less than what they're projected at. So that's kind of where model likes it here at like -4 to -3.5. It thinks is right on. So if I factor in that 2.5 or 2 point onto it, that's where I like this North Texas -4 here.
All right. Actually, it seems like you ended up being able to put it into English. So good job by you.
Yeah, I had a half a beer, so I guess that helped from earlier on the stream at this point.
Next game that I am going into, let me just make sure I'm still going in order. I do have one more 1 p.m. game. I'm taking the Citadel, the Southland Conference. I am backing them against Western Carolina, taking Citadel +1, -105. I believe they're on a back-to-back, playing Western Carolina.
No, they are not.
Oh, they are not. So even better. model has Citadel as a favorite, so that was one of the things that really stuck out to me. And Citadel is another one of these high variance 3-point teams I like. You'll notice a trend in a lot of the teams I pick are really high usage. They shoot almost 40 to 50% of their shots from three, and Citadel certainly one of those teams. And Citadel is actually knocking them down. They're hitting 37% of their threes and shooting nearly 50% of their nearly 50% of their shots are coming from three. So that's the main reason why I like Citadel. They're very efficient on their offense, and they're playing a rather below average Western Carolina defense. Neither of these two teams are great by any stretch of imagination. They're both pretty bad in their conference play, but with Citadel's up-tempo offense and how they are able to hit those threes, I like Citadel as a slight dog here.
Yeah, so this play, they played on Monday, and it was beautiful. They tipped off at noon, solo game, ESPN Plus, got me right through the workday. And I really want to know what syndicate is really backing Western Carolina at this point. They're 1-8. They finally got their first conference win, like in their last game or the game before it. So this one's just going to be up and down the court. I'd rather take the way better offensive team in the Citadel here than the Catamounts.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I mean, Citadel's a home dog. I mean, it's Citadel. It's not like they're playing in a big arena. But there's not really, I don't see a reason for Western Carolina to be favored. If this game was a pick, I probably would be staying off it. But seeing that Citadel actually is lined as a slight dog, like you said, obviously there are people who are putting their money down on Western Carolina, and they continue to do so in a way that has shaped the market.
Yes, sir. So back in the Citadel, fading the Catamounts here. So let's get into what I would classify as my favorite play of the day today. Here, doubling up on this one, going full unit each.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how much I like this one because, Jordan, I might say something controversial here because if you need A10 talk, you come to Jordan and Rex for this. St. Bonaventures is the best team in the A10.
Yeah, not a big stretch. I think I had them as my third best team going into the season. Yeah.
So VCU and St. Louis are the other two teams. You can throw Richmond up there as well. Mm-hmm. But Bonnie's is 7-1 in league play, in A10 play. Yeah. St. Louis, they played 2 games in 5 weeks. Both of them. I mean, when you lose to Pasadish, that's where it's just like, come on, what are you doing at St. Louis? I know you had that break. I know you lost to LaSalle. And this is where now you're running into the hottest team in the A10 and probably the best team in the A10 here. You can get 3.5 on Bonnie's, and you can get the money line at plus like 145 or 150. So I'm playing it the plus 3.5 at minus 105. I'm playing the money line at plus 145. This is your hungry dog of Saturday because I just don't understand why Bonnie's is giving a full bucket here. And especially because I'm getting the hook. I love it. Yes, they're on the road in St. Louis, but until St. Louis can figure it out, they have all these great stats, but you have to take everything what St. Louis does with a grain of salt at this point because these are all games that were played before Christmas. It's now February 6th. Until this team can prove it to me that they can do it, then that's it. And St. Louis fouls. I mean, Bonnie's not the best free throw shooting team, but when you're, I don't know, it's just tough at this one where Bonnie's, I just have to hope they can defend the 3 here, and I think they can do it, and they're going to win outright. So that's my dog.
I like it. Is St. Louis still ranked as of Monday?
I can check real quick, but I do not believe so. They're no longer ranked.
We offline had talked about what a crime it was that they had continued to be ranked despite not playing for 5 to 6 weeks. Okay, good. So at least that has been adjusted for. I like the Bonnies. I said going into this year that they were going to have a really good offense, and they certainly are proving that. They are having no problem in the A10 right now. They're being able to stand up to some of the tough tests, and this certainly will be one of them. I like your plays here.
Let's go. They lost their first game. They won 7 in a row. Maybe I'm jinxing them and jumping on them when they're hot. But Kyle Lofton, I know 3-man league. We do like those guys. I think Matty Cox is in love with Kyle Lofton.
Yeah, he's very good at basketball.
Love it here.
Next play that I have, 2 p.m. game. I'm taking Morehead State versus Austin Peay. I'm taking Morehead State. I got them -2.5. I was first interested in this game because I saw a lot of the old media and Twitter touts backing Austin Peay. Austin Peay does have a pretty solid offense, but what Morehead State has been able to do with their defense this year is pretty unmatched in the Ohio Valley Conference. Preseason, they were ranked the 9th team in their conference, and they're currently sitting number 1. Rex and I beforehand were talking about how I believe Eric Haslam has in their top 3. I think it was number 2 in their momentum. So where their preseason ranking to now, and KenPom actually has them as number 1. So I'm riding the hot Morehead State defense, being able to stifle this Austin Peay 3-point shooting team, because that is what they like to do. They like to shoot threes. They're not very great at it, but they shoot a lot of them. So that's where I like Morehead State, getting them as a slight favorite, -2.5, and in a nice slow game. I like that.
Dude, you should have told me to wear my Morehead State t-shirt to back
you on. You do.
Maybe I'll have to shout out Kenneth 3, but maybe I'll have to find this one here. And yeah, Morehead State, I mean, them and Bama are the 2 hottest teams according to Haslam right now, or Haslam metrics, however you want to call it. So that's where laying less than a bucket here. You just got to hope they just don't win by 1 or 2, because I definitely think they won this one outright today.
I'm there with you.
All right, so this one is not going to give many stats for this one. This one is the one that's solely a Rex gut plate. Jordan, you can tell me what the model thinks of Texas, because I forget what it has here. But I'm laying the -1.5 here at -105. You can play the money line at -125. Either way it is. If they win by 1, I'm going to be super salty. But Greg Brown and Cade Cunningham have been balling with each other for I don't even know how long. They've been AAU teammates the whole time. Greg Brown is a monster. And I think this is where this line is fishy as hell that Texas is only that. Yes, they're coming off the loss against Baylor, so maybe it's a double letdown spot here. I know Oklahoma State's still playing for their postseason hopes because they still are fighting the appeal or in the appeal process, so they're technically not kicked out. So they can still technically make it. So they still have all the motivation to go here. But Shaka Smart's team, Texas, it's the team that I like in the long run. And against Baylor, I mean, against Oklahoma State, you can do a lot of things you can't do against Baylor. So that's where they hung tough. They fall off at the end. I think Shaka Smart, this is one where I'm just trusting him to rally the troops, not knocking on Botton at all. But I just think Shaka Smart's the better coach here, the better team. I'm just going to take them to win, even though I'm laying a 1.5 on the road. I'm just backing the Longhorns here.
Oh, so you got a -1.5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, model agrees with you mostly. It's -2. It's 2.5. So, you have a slight edge there, just about a point. So that would make the cut.
Yeah, it dropped real quick. I don't know if it's still sitting there. This was the last one I added onto the card because it was one that I was targeting. So I saw it go from 2.5 to 2. And I was like, ooh, if I get this 1.5 here, because, I mean, Greg Brown's a monster. And Cade Cunningham, he's a specimen and entirely hard to stop. But Greg Brown has everything he needs to do, and he's been playing against them his whole life.
That he has.
You want me to run through another one? Because I still have 4 plays left. I'm not sure how many you have left.
I have 2 left. So, yeah, go ahead. Give us one more, Rex.
Yep, this is another one where not going against – or this one is another Rex play. The next 3 are definitely more model plays here. But Creighton, I mean, have they hit rock bottom? Marquette, I mean, sorry, guys. Nothing surprising with this season. I hate laying 4.5 on the road here with Creighton over Marquette, but if Creighton's really going to be a top 10 team, I know there's one member of the breakdown, and some people don't think that Creighton's a top caliber team. I think they're easily top 10 in the nation this season. And if you're top 10 in the nation this season, if you have the 12th best offense, the 73rd best defense, you beat Marquette and you spank Marquette.
Yep.
And that's where I just think this is one where you take care of business. No big stats I'm going to put behind it. Just not impressed by this Marquette team. I mean, Garcia and Carton are both nice players, but if you're Creighton and you're the top team in the Big East, if you want to say you're up there with Nova, you win this game soundly.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. And yeah, exactly. If they expect to be considered amongst the top contenders, you really got to put away the middle to bottom feeders like teams like Marquette. All I care about at the end of the season is that Creighton is ranked higher than UConn, so I can get a little free money there.
I forgot about that personal bet you have.
$50.
Nice.
So we shall see. I mean, honestly, UConn might just DQ themselves based off all their COVID games that they've missed and cancellations and everything. They might not even be able to get fucking 20 games over the course of a season.
Yep, I'm about to get into my night plays. Do you have any left before like 5 or 6 p.m.? Because all the rest are my like prime time games, I guess. But
yeah,
with Saturday, the whole game's prime time.
I have a 4 p.m. game. I'll hop into that one now. Let me just click over. My mouse is dying on me. It's a very, very sad state of affairs. Team that I'm backing. Next game that I have Eastern Kentucky taking them on the money line. Plus 120. I believe they're 1.5 to 2 point dogs. I don't know what the current spread is, but they're at home. They are a better team than Murray State. They are a team. This is one of the rare teams that I'm backing that isn't just like firing threes at all times, but they're an extremely fast-paced team, and their defense should provide some pretty interesting matchup issues with Murray State because Eastern Kentucky forces so many turnovers. I really like this Eastern Kentucky team. I've backed them a few times this year. They are certainly at the top of the Ohio Valley Conference, up there with Moorhead. So I'm taking Eastern Kentucky plus 120.
Yeah, this is a game where I wouldn't. It's similar fishy to the way that Texas Oklahoma State was fishy to me because why the hell is Eastern Kentucky home underdogs here? So that's where I like that you have a dog of the week as well. So let's back in the Ohio Valley. So let's back Eastern Kentucky here. All right, so neither of us have a player in Wisconsin, Illinois, which is, I would probably say that that's the game of the day. Alabama, Missouri definitely has the talk for it, so it's so strange that we're saying those two games. You could put maybe a few other there when Duke and UNC are playing each other, and that's not. I mean, it's getting the primetime slate at 6, but there's probably two games that I'm more looking forward to watch than Duke UNC. But here, this is a solely play where, I mean, Duke's laying 4. What has Duke done really to show that their ability to delay 4 here? Duke UNC always comes down to the wire. If you're giving me +4 in UNC, I mean, this is kind of one where I'm just taking it because if you're just giving me 4 points in this rivalry that I know UNC was trash last year, Duke's won 3 in a row. UNC's definitely going to want to change that mantra. So, yes, I think the model shows a small edge towards UNC here. But this is where you're giving me +4. Just take it there. Play the money line if you even want here because either way, good value in my mind, but I'm just going to take the points here.
Yep, and you are right. The slightest of margins there in favor of UNC. Dogfight going on behind me, so that should be interesting.
That's what Duke UNC is going to look like.
Yeah. Bentley's Duke right now, just laying on her back, flailing around.
Charlie's done with it. He just spanked her out and it's just like, I'm gone.
He's just going for the boards like UNC's going to be doing all game, just hitting the boards off those terrible Duke shots. But what has UNC's issue been this year? Do they just not have great guard play?
Yep. Yeah. It's exactly the guard play. And I mean, that's where I'm more worried about hurting me in this one than I am with Jalen Johnson. They have the athleticism. Jalen Johnson's not the threat from the perimeter. If Duke wins this game, they get hot from 3. It's how Duke usually wins their classic games. But the UNC big men's closing out onto Hurt, that's where I have my biggest concern today.
All right. I will give you a break to repour.
I haven't even plugged in my Yeti this whole time. I'm talking through my laptop. I hope it sounds fine.
It sounds totally fine. I honestly did not notice the difference. I'll go ahead and jump into my last play that I have for today's slate. It's actually a shockingly late game. Wright State. Never mind. I forgot they play in Central. I'm taking Wright State minus 11.5 versus UIC, Illinois, Chicago. UIC is a terrible offense. They can't fucking score. They really, really struggle to score. Wright State is a very good defense. They are undoubtedly the best team in the Horizon Conference. They play with pace. UIC can't score. Wright State can score. Don't overthink this one. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, this is one where you don't overthink it. Just play Wright State in this one because if you're running to back the Flames, crazy life you're living here.
Mm-hmm.
So my next, I got two left. I'll rattle these off pretty quickly. We're almost at the noon tip-off, but these are both late-night games here. This line's moved a decent amount, which is keeping me off the full game, and I targeted it this way with a game I played midweek with West Virginia in the first half, and that ended up hitting. So pressing my luck here with Colorado in the first half, -3. They're hosting Arizona, and this is one where that's funny. They like it. Maybe they like the dog. Maybe they should be saying play the Wildcats here, Rex, with Colorado. I'm playing them in the first half. I'm laying the 3 points because Arizona, they're a bunch of freshmen. Playing your first time in Boulder is definitely a big difference just because there's not many teams that have home court advantage this season, but Colorado is one of them that does. And when you're getting a bunch of freshmen in there, that's why I'm going to lay the first half -3. And this is one where I'm going to target the second half based on how the first half goes as well. If they end up covering, probably going to lay off. If it ends up being close, then I think the legs of Arizona are going to die out. Because I'll get a shorter line than -5.5 if they don't cover the first half line. So that's where play the first half and then target the second half if that one doesn't come through.
Actually, I really like that. I didn't even think about the angle of young players going into altitude. I mean, they're coming from, if Arizona's recruiting them, they're probably coming from California or somewhere on the West Coast, South. They're not used to playing at that altitude. That's a really cool angle. I like that.
Well, because the one thing I started doing and what I found myself doing with Colorado, because I backed them twice so far this season. I have 2 losses on them, and they both played on the road. And that's where I think Colorado is a team where when you're backing them, you can't blindly back them at home. It's usually a good idea too. But pick your spots, and I think this is a nice one where Arizona is in the top 4 of the stinky Pac-12, where only one team's probably going to make the conference tournament. But this is where I think Colorado, the first half angle. Glad that you see my reasoning here.
Yep. And then another Pac-12 pick.
Yeah. I mean, Pac-12 after dark. It's Saturday. I love my Pac-12 after dark football game betting, so might as well transition into basketball here. And this is one where, like UNC, like Bonnie's, would like the money line here as well. Going to take the 3.5 because when I can get that much, I mean, getting the full 3 points, that's where I like it because it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. And I'm just backing the better coach here in UCLA. They've lost Chris Smith, and UCLA was a team I was fading early in the season. Worked a little bit, started not to as they got more into conference play. And here, I mean, Mick Cronin's just a better coach. And UCLA, I trust their guards a lot more. I'm almost coming a full 180 on this UCLA team, which I never thought I would do in the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
and how much
I think we faded them at least in their very first game.
Yeah, so that's where it worked early. Then as Cronin got there, that's just the caliber of his coaching that once he gets with the team more, once you get into his style, once you buy into it, it's a team you want to back late. So that's why here, I mean, USC, do they have the better talent, guys? Yes. I'm just banking on the better coach team here. 3.5, it is on the road, but huge rivalry game. Sorry, AJ. Sorry, Rob Swanson. I don't know what your real name is on Twitter, but I know USC is your favorite team, so UCLA plus 3.5. Come at me on Twitter. I'm definitely going to tweet at both of them later today.
All right, you said Pac-12 only has one team. Do you think it's then UCLA?
It's honestly between UCLA and Colorado. I really want to put USC in that caliber. Oregon, I don't know what the hell's going on with that team. That was one that they started off out of a cannon, and it was even in Pac-12 play. Now they're just going down. When you lose to Oregon State that convincingly, that's when I knew Oregon was in a bad state of affairs. If you look at them today, I think they're missing Amawori and Eric Williams Jr. today. So, yeah, they're playing Washington. That's what you're going to see out of Oregon today. But I would go with UCLA as a favorite as much as it pains me, but I want to see the Buffs win the Pac-12. because I like McKinley Wright. He's my favorite player in the Pac-12.
All right. So that's going to close it up for today's show. Let's go ahead and recap our picks real quickly. I have two that are literally tipping off at this moment, and one of them is the one I share with Rex. So Toledo Ball State over 148.5 minus 105. Rex has over 149 minus 105. I have UConn plus 1.5 at Seton Hall, or playing Seton Hall, minus 110. Colgate minus 12.5 minus 105. Rex is on that one as well. I have the Citadel taking on Western Carolina at +1 minus 105. Morehead State minus 2.5 minus 110 against Austin Peay. I have Eastern Kentucky money line plus 120 home dogs. That is my hungry dog of the week, taking on Murray State. I have Cleveland State +1 minus 112, 5 p.m. game against Oakland. And then my final game of today's slate is going to be Wright State minus 11.5 minus 110, taking on the planes that never seem to leave the ground in UIC.
Yes, sir. I'll run through mine real quick. I got 10 spaced it out, so I basically got something to watch the entire day. Ball State Toledo over 149. Colgate minus 12.5. North Texas minus 4. Bonnie's plus 3.5. Texas minus 1.5. Creighton minus 4.5. UNC plus 4. Colorado first half minus 3. UCLA plus 3.5 minus 105. All those games are at minus 105. And then my money line, my hungry dog of the day, is the Bonnie's money line at plus 145. So double stack in there. You can go one way or the other there, but I like it so much I'm going both ways. So I guess that would technically be the first 2-unit play of my college basketball season.
All right. I think I've had multiple unit plays on Incarnate Word and Toledo this year. Those have been kind of leading my charge on that. Those all your plays?
Yeah, this is the first time you're going with the Toledo total, then backing them on the
huge spread.
Yeah, shout out Marion Jack. I mean, I've been on the Marion Jackson hype train since the beginning of the season, since you retweeted me once. So You do that, you get on my train. I do have a troll real quick though, or a potential troll. The Mid-Atlantic or whatever, the MAAC. If you don't accept my media credential request, we'll have some words. So it's just a warning, a troll warning, I guess is the better way for this one.
So Rex and I are trying to get some media credentials for conference tournaments. Rex has submitted his for the MAAC, and I am looking at the Northeast Conference, so I can go and check out some Bryant basketball. So hopefully we get approved, and we'll be able to do something cool from there. And then just a reminder, because it is, tomorrow is the Super Bowl, we do have that promotion currently running with Thrive Fantasy. So go ahead, download the Thrive Fantasy app. They do have tons of contests, all sports, but obviously this weekend really focused on the Super Bowl. They do have a contest with over $30,000 in guaranteed prize money. And then use the promo code BREAKDOWN, BRKDWN, on the Thrive Fantasy app. And they will go ahead and match your deposit up to $50.
So, yes, Thrive Fantasy, definitely check them out. Free money. Get the gamble with the $20 extra that we help you out with. Make sure you use the code BRKDWN to get it. Got a late submission question. Love it, from Nick Lacoste. Jordan, we don't have parlays today, but if you had to parlay something, I think I got something off the top of my head today. So if you had to parlay, where are you headed for your parlay today?
All right, staying in college basketball.
Could be, I guess it could be anywhere, but since it's a college basketball stream, I guess that would be the best way to attack it.
All right. From my plays, I would go Colgate minus 12.5, Wright State minus 11.5, and Eastern Kentucky plus 120. That's a plus 120, a minus 110, and a minus 105. So you're probably looking at approximately plus 300 odds, maybe slightly over that. If you have a parlay calculator open, or you can do parlay math. You're usually pretty good with it.
Yeah, I don't feel like it right now. So the way I'm attacking it is I got two angles you can attack this one. I definitely think Tennessee money line is a nice anchor if you want to do a favorites parlay today. Pick your other favorite if you want to go higher or lower than that, but Tennessee against Kentucky, if they want to have any hope and any semblance of winning that SEC, you beat Kentucky today. So I guess you could say a Tennessee Creighton money line parlay, motivation parlay. That would be my juicy one you want to go. And this is technically a parlay, but I would throw the 3 dogs I like into a round robin with Bonnie's, UNC, and UCLA. I definitely think 2 of the 3 money lines end up hitting today. So I got you dogs to parlay, and I got you 2 small favorites to parlay, both sitting at 4 and 4.5.
All right, my parlay is a plus 700 parlay. That one that I kind of just laid out there. Although both of those are really large spreads, so I'm going to backpedal on one of them. I'm taking out Colgate. I'm going UConn plus 1.5, minus 110. I'm doing Wright State minus 11.5, minus 110. And then the Eastern Kentucky money line for a nice plus 700 odds right there.
That's a fun question. Definitely love giving you a parlay out on the spot. But yeah, Tennessee was one team that I held off today just because I didn't want to lay the 4.
Yeah. That will do it for today's stream. As always, make sure you check us out on Twitter at breakdown_sports to give us a follow. We certainly appreciate and welcome any and all feedback and interactions that we can get through our Twitter. That's it for today. A lot of plays, big Saturday slate. Rex and I will be back early next week, probably looking at Tuesday night since Monday's always, actually no, it might be Monday night for the Tuesday slate. So, I'm back.
We got a reply. Ooh, I like it. The College of Charleston, that's a definitely good one.
Big model edge this week.
Yeah, so that's where I like the Charleston play. If he's riding the Bonnies with me, I like that one. And then back in Oregon State against Wazoo, I like that one. Fading Wazoo against Oregon State. The Beavers are definitely starting to show there. So I like that parlay right there.
Oregon State model's right in line with that one. But yeah, that College of Charleston play, big edge there. But that's it for today's stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll be back probably, like I said, Monday night previewing the Tuesday slate.